was remarkably calm, curious to see
Okay.
A moment, said Gilliman. His fingers danced along the gel screen, forgiving material to get.
Yeah, take it.
Gilliman read each page quicker than a man could, processing volumes worth of data in seconds. There, a void shield flickered, out of syncopation with its pulse modulators, the suggestion of an unstable core reactor. A weak spot.
And get fucked.
Target these positions.
That's all the target to do. Ah, come on. Alright, you better have you. I know, every kid.
Targeting orders for a score of Imperial ships appeared.
Yeah, that's all the target as well, man. I'm sure.
Data was disseminated by a data squad across the fleet. A rush of affirmations were returned via the master goddess. All vessels confirm targets acquired. Then open fire, said Gilliman. The reserved fire of 20 great ships of the line flared out at once, all aimed at the steel. Battleships
Oh, come on. How the fuck are we missing these shots? Like, come on, man.
Were yards thick, their vital force hidden deep inside. Even though the battleship might be salvaged and fight again, for their frames were forged from adamantium. But a Primarch was in command of the Imperial fleet, and as a master napper knows how to strike a flint just so to cause it to split, Robute Gilliman knew how to slay a starship. The steel lords and void shields were overwhelmed instantly, undone by the flames inflicted in their generators.
Why do I feel like my bullets are doing absolutely fucking nothing to these guys? Like, get the fuck.
Thousands of tons of solid and explosive liquids. The steel lord weathered the impacts for a good 20 seconds.
Come on,
The
take him
fires
up.
on its hull
Good
gathered
man,
into
there we go.
one giant eruption of flame that broke its spine. A second later, the reactor. A miniature sun engulfed the ship in a perfect yellow sphere. The oculus of the McCrack's honor didn't respond. The engines of the reactor nova touched the shields of the Steel Lord's sister ships, bringing them down in storms of squirming purple lightning. The Imperial fleet had not slowed,
good
but
night.
the enemy ships were large in their All ships, engagement maneuvers, commanded Gilliman. Fire at will. Expertly, the formation of the palm broke apart, passing between the enemy vessels. The McCrack's honor punched through the boiling cloud left behind by the steel lord. Wreckage flashed to nothing on its void shields, and then the Imperial flagship was through, its guns raking down the sides of the exposed Chaos vessels. As the others passed, they fired with their broadsides. The Chaos ships fired back, but most were shieldless, and they peeled away, not engaged with the lesser fleets that turned and were coming back, firing directly at the vulnerable engine of the Chaos vessels. A titanic explosion brought into uncontrollable spin as its stacks went up. It rolled away, missing its stern. There were no cheers on the deck of the McCrack's honor. All worked to ensure victory. Celebration
Are you just going to shoot? Like, for fuck's sake, come on.
The fingers of the claw harried the remaining 3 battleships and their escorts as the palm raced off towards the platform under construction at 108 meter guns.
There we go.
The Fane was far from finished, but its basic framework was in place, an 8-pointed star like a compass wheel, the symbol the priests of the dark gods called the Octave. Strange lights.
What the fuck was that? That guy walked in there, then he ended up on top.
Fire flashed behind them. The ships of the palm approached unopposed. The light above the hub of the wheel of chaos shone brighter. 90 degrees to stop. Show it our big guns. Target enemy battle group with portside batteries. The ship rumbled around as torpedoes from the smaller craft accompanying it raced towards the Fane. The move was performed in the face of decelerative force, and the vessel lurched as its engines pushed it into the turn. But it was done. The orbital moved out of view of the forward oculus. Side views were brought onto the main tacticar. Open fire! As the ship lined up. Bring it down! Banks of macro cannons boomed in series along the side of the battleship, every crew making the command deck shudder.
Nice.
Energy had to be diverted to the integrity of
the guns combined with that of the turn.
giant munitions slammed into the incomplete temple station, pruning it of spear-tipped arms.
Alright, yeah, I'm
Bombs designed to kill pilots were deployed to ensure its demise. After 2 bodies, all that remained of the octet was an area of spinning orbital debris 1,000 miles across and still expanding. And so they see. No fane to their dark gods will they raise that I shall not cast down, said Gilman. These traitors oppose the will of the Emperor's last faithful son. They will learn the error of their ways. 10,000 years, some of them have defied the Emperor. Their lives end now. There was no vessel powerful enough to best the McCrack's honor. There were a few remaining Chaos battleships, and under different stars, they might have been a match for the venerable flagship alone. But the Imperial fleet outnumbered the traitors, and Gilliman wielded his armada expertly. The traitors were disunited. The last battleships were quickly isolated. Unwilling to act in concert at first, then rapidly made unable to do so, the Chaos fleet could do nothing to halt the McCrack's honor as it powered through the debris field of the Temple Station and towards the world beyond. As the Imperial fleet swung into orbit, the stratosphere flashed with the discharge of ground-based defense lasers. Send my words to the fleet, said Gilliman. My lord, the Master Diplogatus replied. The station is destroyed, said the Primarch. The way is open. All landing ships forward. Begin deployment of main ground attack. In the face of their fire, put down your armies and your legions. Generals of the Imperium, it is time to scour this world clean. Chapter 7. Last Flight of the Grey Shields. A furious shaking gripped the Rodettes. The wailing of alarms filled the ship, accompanied by the dull, edge-of-hearing crackle of void shield generators working to capacity. Then the insertion craft broke through the enemy, and the racket was done. The Grey Shields readied themselves to go to war one final time. Brothers, we are approaching the insertion point, boxed Lieutenant Sarkis.
Good to go.
Assault in 2 minutes. Begin drop preparations. Imperator Victoriam. Victoriam, his warriors replied. Of the many tens of thousands of Primaris Space Marines created by Belisarius Corps, only half were initially formed into new chapters. The rest had been gathered into great armies, each of one gene line. They wore the livery of their founding Primarchs, their badges crossed with pale grey chevrons, and within their gene groupings, they were then further organized into chapter-sized formations. There, agreement with the Codex Astartes ended. Officially, the Primaris formations were designated the unnumbered sons of the Primarchs, but they called themselves the Grey Shields. They were the new sons of old science, and they had no fraternity but their own. Gilliman deployed his new weapons in every way imaginable. The Primaris Space Marines sometimes fought as the legions of Oldad, in huge formations of one type, but as time wore on, they also fought in mixed groups of every size, from strike teams of 5 up to double chapter strength. They knew the strengths of their gene cousins and their preferences. Brotherhood crossed the lines of Primarch and Gene.
Moving out.
As the first phase of the Indomitus Crusade progressed, the unnumbered sons dwindled. All across the many fronts of the war, Wotc Gilliman took the Primaris Marines from their companies and their swords, and he assigned them to understrength Space Marine chapters encountered on the way. Whole companies might be hired up, only a few years. Where he saw the need, the Primarch took them by the thousand to create new chapters. Warrior by warrior, the unnumbered sons were scattered across the galaxy, taking with them the secrets of their creation and new forms. Unnumbered sons of Gilliman became
Wait, so did they spot us or did they not?
Unnumbered sons of Dawn joined the Black Templars or the Imperial Fists. Unnumbered sons of Korax
you're not
became
escaping this thing, a lot of shit.
revilers. By the time Gilliman reached Orcus, only a few thousand of the unnumbered sons' original strength remained.
Oh, where'd it come from?
A situation repeated across all the groupings of the Crusade. Sergeant Justinian and his Inceptors hung from robotic drop-arms. There were 3 warriors in each unit, and 6 units in their bay, along with their leader, Lieutenant Sarkis. Orders, scion of the line of
okay, 1%
flew with
indication.
Justinian, as did Aldrin. In The ship's other two droppings.
Alright, so this technique works great.
They were giants.
Come closer, we're gonna get fucked. I don't think they have any idea where it's coming from.
Solo atmospheric insertion. And
No, they don't.
heavy jump packs were sustained.
Alright, that's a great method, I like that.
Paired assault mortars.
I've got no fucking clue.
These guns were one of Belisarius' Corps' heretical marvels. Massive pistols with a slowshot armor of heavy bolters. In the bay, lit only by the winking lights.
They don't have a fucking clue, do they?
Justinian's comrades were outlines, edged in green and red.
55, come on, you can do it. On the good side, on the good side, it.
It belonged to Solus, his friend. Only the bar-like red of his plate, plugged up in the drop.
And big part. I don't think the other one was around. I think he was just one. So like, right, I'm going anywhere but fucking here. Same with him. Oh, take him. Good man. There we go, team. See, we got food and we're good. Back. There we go, much better. Right, that technique works great. They didn't have a fucking clue what was going on. Let me do that. Yeah, so we will.
Projecting a false world display directly upon his resonance. The overly obstructed the giant retina dropped the lawrence blinked in front of him. Two stationary circles contained by crossings, all divided by fine rules of measurement. The mission count
He did good there as well, even though he's not a pepper guy, but still, very good.
Program drop coordinates. Beta 7987 3872, Kappa 0031 4822. Confirmed, said Sarkis. Though the overlay existed only in the witch world of the squad's noosphere, the Polaris seemed to hang solid in the air of Justinian. Using the neural links connecting his nervous system to his cogitator, he brought the coordinates onto the grid. The display's larger wheel turned within the swarm. His positional tracker shifted through 3 dimensions as the Rudens ploughed its way towards him. A faint roar came from the ship's engines. The vibrations conducted to Justinian's armor by way of the dropping. A gentle pushback of oppositional forces as the craft accelerated. The Rudens always came in faster. Confirmed, said Justinian. Indicators on his display blinked green as he honed in his
Couple files just so good. Eventually we'll get fucking... Didn't we get Guardian? Oh my god. Alright, so... Flash, good, alloys, good.
Confirmed. The other sergeants acknowledged mission readiness as their own backplane processed the data. 30 seconds to planetary drop, said Sarkis. Final weapons check. Justinian went through the procedure automatically. Runic indicators flickered, half obscured by the drop Polaris dominating his view. Drum magazines on his assault bolters spun around once, ammo feeds clicking. Chimes
when we have a look here, hopefully.
The machine spirit of his interceptor armor performed a number of adjustments. Hissing atmosphere lines increased the internal pressure. The reactor beneath his jump engines whined into high output, then back again, and his jets gave a single hollow
we'll get that right.
In front of him, Solus's jets
Actually, I want to save it so that because other stuff comes with the tread on that.
The schematic of his armor blinked in the upper right.
I can get that because that's my restart. I do use it a lot. I don't like using it a lot. Specification alloys. Means 16.
The ship shook hard.
I mean, still losing it enough.
The push of acceleration shifted around his body as the ship curved away from us. Several more jarring shakes followed as the Rudens came under fire. There is a firestorm out there, said Sarkis. The enemy are displeased to see us.
For that, and then we'll get that.
Sarkis, said Bjorn Arms. Sergeant,
And proving drink should be ready just a minute.
I do not joke, replied the lieutenant. A wry comment then, said the son of Ross was hanging from the drop next to Justin. He tapped him on the arm with the shot his assault. Wish me luck, brother, he said quietly. Vox beats fed his voice into Justinian's ears. Why do you need luck more than the rest of us? Solus interrupted. It's my 13th planetfall, grumbled Bjorn. An ill-favored number. The Primarch's Legion was the 13th. Do you not remember?
Everything gets started immediately, Commander.
Why would I forget? But where is the 13th Legion now? Made into chapters 10,000 years ago for the greater good of the Imperium, said Cordis. Broken into pieces, you mean, said Beyond. I do not want to be broken into pieces. The air was sucked out by powerful fans.
Useful.
The noise in the bay went.
Leave it for now.
Doors opening, doors opening, doors opening.
This will prove to have been an important breakthrough.
The narrow bay doors slid back, letting in a corridor of bright sunlight, unsoftened by atmosphere.
Hold on.
Residual ship air froze upon the spaceways, bringing a diamond sheet to their butts.
The tourists we see employed by Advent throughout their various facilities and security checks are automated, much in the same way the alien mechanized units are. A significant amount of time was likely spent developing the optical sensors and targeting system, which I expect Shin will want to thoroughly examine following the disassembly process.
Advent doesn't seem to have any issues stationing completely autonomous weapons in close proximity to the people in those cities. Really shows you how much they care.
I'll see that work begins immediately, Commander. I'll contact you when I have a full report available.
Your interference in my plans may slow, but can never stop the inevitable fate of this world.
Our inspiration did prove beneficial. I had assumed you'd make that research a priority, Commander. I'll notify you as soon as the report is available.
Commander. We're picking up indications of the Elder's warlock actively working in this region.
Avenger plotting new course.
there was a flaring burst of jets.
Commander, the aliens are still moving forward on the Avatar
Half a
project.
second later,
Yeah, we'll get to that. I don't want to go into America just yet, because I don't want to wake up, you know,
fell with a whoop.
An urgent communication
Shit up.
coming in for you now, Commander. It is unfortunate, Commander.
Their intelligence
Recent efforts have proven to be so.
Then it was Justinian's turn. Unit 13, 10889-189E, away, said the chief.
Immediately. What the fuck is it?
The claws released as gentle as a kiss. The firing of the impeller hard as a punch. It ceased after a second stroke. Justinian felt it come off his jumper as the bomb was otherwise smooth flight. Justinian got a new trick or two available. The long, slender shape of the Rodets. Maybe we should give them a try. Becoming a blade of light in the sky, surrounded by the starbursts of orbital combat. The ship drew away, trailing a wake of false lightning from the world's magnetocruiser. Justinian fixed the sight in his map and ordered his armor to capture a series of
images of flies.
Avenger spotting new course.
Completed armor will be done. So I think. Maybe he does it at the black market.
The Dolores' nest of resonance shifted slightly, and he looked down. The circles tilted within, providing him
recovery time has increased.
to set his descent. Cordus and Aldred were bright orange teardrops drifting across the surface. The members of the other squads, yellow dots, spread above and below. A blue line rose up the display towards him. For minutes he fell in silence. The surface was so far away that he appeared to be making no progress. There is no sharp delineation between the
cities throughout the globe who are willing to share their knowledge of Xcom's operations.
Where atom by
The
atom, air
aliens
gives
are
way to
actively
action.
pursuing them.
But there does exist a
It
point
will
where
be
the
up to
air
you
becomes
to ensure the safety of our operatives, Commander.
So, yeah.
Hey,
well, again, repair if we can.
As
That'd
friction
be good.
was perceptible only moments before, quickly built around the tunnel. A plasma torch filled the theaters. The coming moments were critical. Gaining a good angle of descent at this stage would ensure mission success. A colorless statement that meant only that he would not die before the enemy got a chance to shoot him. An alarm sounded. Cordus' signifier flashed. Cordus, correct course 2 points vertical. You are drifting, said Justine.
There you go.
Yes, brother sergeant, Cordus responded.
Well, then, I know you're tired, but I want you there.
And the graphic ceased blinking. The others spread out into a wide dispersion pattern. 3 targets awaited the demi-company's attention. A series of closely bunched bastions joined by a wall, each one bristling with ordnance. A bright corona of heat screened around Justine, most intense about the reinforced ceremony of its roots. It became uncomfortable, but not dangerous. Provided there was no breach in his intercept battle plate, he would be safe. The curve of the world moved. The ground spread beneath him. Space retreated to the peripheral of his vision and vanished. Where the last of the black was gone, Justinian finally felt like he was falling. Individual surface features resolved themselves, details popping into sharp definition, though all were flattened by his relative height, so that mountains appeared as painted flourishes upon a ground canvas. Soon after, he reached terminal velocity and stopped accelerating. Below him, fighting raged upon a plain bordered by a range of hills pierced by a wide valley. Across the valley mouth was the Great Wall, and a strong fortress not far behind. 2 battle lines became visible. Their exchanges of fire were startling gleams of oil. A vast phalanx of Astra Militarum tanks, supported by Adeptus Mechanicus cycle troops and war machines, advanced on the wall from the drop zone. The wall looked like a ribbon, but in truth it was almost 100 yards tall and 40 wide. The Titans of the Legio Metallica swelled, their carapaces sinking, taking on form. They were now the size of men, and the warriors milling about their feet became the insects as the scene unfolded like a fractal tapestry before Justinian's eyes. Aircraft sped below, swift as eagles, dueling with draconic deep engines for control of the sky. Demi Company split, ordered Science. Squads to target designated mission objectives in 3, 2, 1. Fire jets. Formation disperse. Fire jets, ordered Justinian. A smaller reticle ignited in the center of his Dolores, then settled over his own squad's landing zone on the middle tower. The tallest one. His jets roared furiously against the drag of the planet. began hurtling laterally towards the tower. They avoided firing their jets until the last second. When the interceptors had first been deployed, the enemy had mistaken their squads for falling vaguely or straight munitions. In the chaos of battle, they had been paid little attention until it was too late. Lately, the foes of the Imperium had become wise to accept it.
Right, so you can actually take that off on it if you do.
The storm of flak moments after their jets finished burning. Justinian fell to a wash of fire. Shrapnel peeled off his armor. The thunder of atmosphere lessened. The demi-company's attack spread widely. The dots that denoted each warrior perfectly positioned in 3 clusters, one for each defense tower. The target went from a toy to a towering edifice in a matter of seconds.
Fire jets! Prolonged burst! Decelerate to engagement speed. Rouse the spirits of your weapons.
He hefted his own guns, eager to unleash them upon the enemy. His jets ignited again, and this time they stayed burning. The fuel gauge in his display rapidly fell from 4 to a third as he braked. He was no longer falling, but flying, and that ate up his fuel quickly. In a graceful arc, he and his squad thundered towards the upper battlements of the tower. The bastion was ludicrously embellished and screened with wide faces, its crenellations torn and fashioned into unnecessary spikes. But it was well armored, and 4 quad flak cannons squatted in heavy turrets at each corner, banging off shots at the attacking space marines. Traitor Astartes opened up as the Inceptors approached, and their fire was more worrisome than the flak cannons. A bomb round spanked off the cowling of Justinian's left jet nozzle, staggering his flame. 4 bombs. Then a blizzard. Orders identified blinked to red and fell away from Justinian's display. Justinian risked the lanceman. Smoke and explosions hid Cordus's fate, and he did not see his comrade die. Another ball smacked into his breastplate, cracking the outer casing and fracturing the power cable in the air. Smoke blew from the crack, and his jump pack engines caught. A lurching drop made his stomach. Icons blinked, alarms squeaked. At his urging, the cogitator in his suit rebooted power. The jet and he surged on with renewed speed. Sealant foam bubbled up to plug the breach in his armor. The enemy would have to try harder than that to stop him. Justinian dropped down, then burst upwards and over the battlements, Aldrin beside him. Half a dozen members of the Iron Warriors lined the parapet. Bolt gun flash revealed horned helms and faceplates cast with demonic visages. They were terrifying foes, made Adeptus Astartes by the Emperor and granted greater vigor by their dark gods. Once, they had been among the mightiest warriors in the galaxy. They were the mightiest no longer.
Your death has been too long coming, Justinian.
His boxed shout blasting from his helm as he descended on pillars of fiery smoke.
Prepare yourselves for the Emperor's judgment.
He came down with a bone-jarring thump, hard enough to crack the
It
ferrule
was
of
a
the
walking
tower,
order,
guns already blazing. Assault bolters were powerful weapons, but if used unwisely, they would run through their ammunition stores in seconds. Justinian checked his fury. The resupply pods had yet to land. Even utilized with care, the assault bolters fired at a terrifying rate. Flames roared from the weapon's exhaust slots. Explosions smashed the Iron Warriors from their feet, hurling them backwards from the walls that
it means that there's probably some serious fucking, like,
Gianni came over the side, howling joyously, his warriors following him. Then came Sergeant Rusticus' squad, of which Solus was a part. The Primaris Space Marines looked almost as demonic as their foes, with their varicolored liveries scorched and smoking from the heat of their
Damn, why is it so fucking, like,
between the murderous
close up?
crossfire of 8 interceptors,
I hope it
the
fucking
Iron
fucks
Warriors
itself
were
up.
cut to pieces. One of them
Must be
came at
close to
Justinian
that
through the
position.
firestorm and controlled burst his jets, retargeting one of his guns on the warrior as he flew. He could not let the enemy get close. The Inceptor loadout's only real weakness was a lack of melee weaponry. The guns he held in his gauntlets meant it wasn't much of a weakness at all. Justinian's bolts hit the traitor square in the chest. The Iron Warrior's antique armor burst apart, spraying his ancient innards in a red slick across the ramparts, and his chain axe fell to the ground. Its teeth bit on the ferrocrate, and it spun madly before the motor cut out.
For the Emperor! For Gilliman! For mankind!
Height, and he fired down at his enemy. The last of the traitors fell. They had not been caught by surprise. They had seen the Inceptors coming. It did not matter. None could stand before the Primaris
those little bastards.
the new sons of the Emperor. Sergeant Rusticus's warriors went to the flak cannons, raised their assault bolters, and riddled the firing mechanisms.
1%. I mean, see if I can get him up here, that would actually be fucking great. Oh, let's have a look.
The cannon barrels fell away from popping detonations, clanging from the ornate tower sides and falling down to the wall ramparts far below. Soon, all 4 cannons were smoking wrecks.
Primary objective achieved. Anti-air guns are silent.
Fox Justinian, his feed going to Lieutenant Sarkis and the command cadre of his Primaris chapter simultaneously.
Pursuing secondary objective.
With Aldred's garish Imperial fists yellow at his side, Justinian stormed down the stairs into the lower levels. His gun banged out death to everything he encountered. There were an insignificant number of traitor Space Marines within. That had been the pattern these last few years. The armies of Chaos were legion and everywhere, but it was arguable that they were losing their best to Gilliman's relentless crusading.
Ah, dude, fuck off.
Were born thralls, or deluded mortals from conquered worlds who were thrown in their lot with Neo for the chance at a few more weeks later. They came at him humans, dirty faces branded and tattooed, twisted into desperate snarls. Justinian cut them down without mercy.
Death to that
traitor who in weakness denies the supremacy of the Emperor, he said.
I cannot allow this cunt to do that, so you get your ass up
Their
here.
frail bodies blown to pieces by his assault.
Oh, come on.
More took their place, coming so quickly that Justinian
I
ceased
may have to
firing
actually
conserve
throw one of these. They tend to always go for them in a beacon anyway.
The tower soon ran with blood, and his armor's colors were obscured. Justinian and Aldred fought their way further down the stairwell, passing through several levels. Bjarni's squad was close
I could really do with you out here, buddy.
16th level, they parted ways, Bjarni singing loudly as he led his squad mates towards the power core. Justinian and Aldred headed to the Bastion's fire control center.
Yeah, this might not go too well.
Directed the vast array of artillery projecting from the lower reaches of the building. The occasional Vox blurt came through to Justinian. Status updates or requests for reports from Lieutenant Sarkis or from his line.
In fact, I got data right next to so that ain't good. May have to have
Sarkis and others
things.
like him bore that responsibility. Their guns spoke less often. The bravest of the thralls were dead. A few still threw themselves hopelessly at the Space Marines.
Go fix that.
Sank to their knees and begged for forgiveness.
Good kill.
Die.
There is no forgiveness. Better to die twice than betray the Emperor. You made the wrong choice.
And Justinian's assault bolters would bark, or his fists would swing, leaving red ruin where men had knelt. Battle was replaced by a fragile calm. The building evinced
I think that's exactly what it meant they can
being
vote
fairly
for.
made of plastic plating upon a ferrite.
Yeah.
The sheer mass of it dulled the thunder of battle outside upon the plains, so that the worst of it was felt only as gentle tremors, and the rest they did not notice at all. Machines hummed in the fabric of the building. Although the decoration was barbarous, and the grisly trophies nailed to the walls told of the Iron Warrior's bloodier proclivities, the warp was absent. When they reached fire control, that changed. A large room of 3 inverted tiers, the tower's fire control center was similar in design to those in Imperial fortifications, but what occupied the space there would never be found in any Imperial facility. Where ranks of tech thralls and servitors should have sat, guiding the weapons of the fortress, there was instead a thick organic mess. Spreads of noisome matter links wall to wall. This filthy mass grew thicker in the middle, somehow coming together
Yeah,
to
we're
make
fitting to go for that.
though at its edges it was nothing more than a set of flimsy
Oh, what? Go!
at its thickest point.
Come on, I can't get attention all fucking day.
A soft, keen sound.
Jesus
And
Christ.
an intolerable sense of suffering pressed at the Space Marine's minds.
I'm not giving you a big scratchy, I'm just no.
Said Justinian. Exposure to war-born horror did nothing to lessen his revulsion. Countless times he had seen creatures made of the best flesh and blood, weaving corrupted genes, and demons trapped in machine and mortal form. No matter how often they encountered these, they never failed to disgust him. If any pure machine exists here, then I commend your spirit to the god of Mars.
Not barely. Come on, don't stop it.
Though he had no belief in the Emperor as a messiah, he respected the machine's own beliefs. He raised his gun and opened fire. Aldrin joined him, raising both guns and filling the rotten mass with explosive rounds. The keening became a scream. Gunfire blew huge holes in the walls, opening its innards to the smoking air. Hot yellow liquid slopped from it in amounts the thing could not possibly contain. The scream grew so loud, it made the oral dampeners of the Space Marines' helmets thrum. When it abruptly cut out, their equipment screamed with relief. The oppressive nature of the room disappeared, along with the creature's death cry.
Whatever that was, it is dead, said Aldrin.
Feisty smoke drifted from his guns. Heat dispelled their muscles. A moment
Sí,
later,
eso es Doug, sí, hold
and
on.
the few machines
Yes, it could say it
relying on
over.
more natural forms of power.
Go with it.
Vianney has fulfilled his role,
Said Justin. He switched to a direct box link to Lieutenant Sarkis.
Tower Beta is neutralized. Flak batteries are down. Central fire control destroyed. Affirmative. Notification heard, replied Sarkis. We are done here. Rendezvous with the others. Await further instruction. Come on.
There you go,
said
come on.
Justin.
Go take man.
We shall wait upon the roof. We sky like firing rain. They touched down behind the wall, untroubled by flak.
Oh,
thanks to
is
the
he right next to him?
Similarly,
He
the army
fucking
outside
is.
now advanced free from the attentions of artillery
Terrible.
fire. Vianney peered down over the parapet, then turned his grey helmet towards Justinian and Rusticus.
It is boring up here. We are awaiting orders,
Said Rusticus.
We are awaiting orders.
Parroted Vianney dismissively, mocking Rusticus's grave voice.
Well, fine for you.
No,
I
yeah,
am
no.
not missing the battle. Are you two honestly going to stand here and watch?
He ignited his jump pack, its throaty roar deafening in such proximity. Heat wash battered Justinian as Vianney's squad mates followed suit. Rusticus cursed.
Savage.
He said, but meant it fondly, more or less. Justinian laughed dryly.
I would hurry if I were you.
Boxed Vianney. His assault bolters made long, pealing reports under his voice.
I will save you some, but there are not that many left.
He is right, said Justinian.
He is not following protocol,
Said Rusticus.
Lieutenant Sarkis,
I don't know.
this is Sergeant Justinian, notifying immediate re-engagement in combat. Tower is clear. We move to aid landing
Come on, gal.
forces.
Save the day.
Justinian activated his jets slowly. Slamming them into action like Vianney had done shortened the lifespan of the rotors.
There, brother Sergeant,
He said to Rusticus.
protocol satisfied.
Justinian opened up his throttle. Aldred followed
Come
him
on,
over the
mate.
parapet.
Let's see if you can do
His
that.
fuel indicator was blinking madly, the
Yeah,
tank
people,
close to
what's that?
exhaustion. It added to the exhilaration of dropping into combat. The ground rushed up at him so fast in comparison to his stately freefall from orbit, he barely had time to process the sprinting figures and explosions before he was in the thick of it. He shut his jets off 30 feet
Don't
above
think
the
I'm
ground,
thinking too well
letting
there.
his impact dampers
Nah,
take the jolt
he
of
doesn't
landing.
know fucking dealing
He
with it.
came down in a crouch, stood with the grumbling purr of his armor soothing his ears, and strode into battle. The fighting was ahead of him, the lee of the tower quiet. No drop pod or gunship could land close by it, and no foes remained to pour from the bastion's armored gates. The sun was on the other side of the building, and cast a shadow over this minor domain of calm. As soon as Justinian and Aldred were out into full light, the battle noticed them, and gathered them enthusiastically to itself. Drop pods filled the space behind the wall, doors blowing open with violent bangs to allow out their cargoes of power-armored angels. Several
What
pods had been
is
hit
going
close to
on, guys?
blazing, hazing the air with thick towers of black smoke. More numerous were the shattered wrecks of traitor fighting vehicles. What had been a wide open killing space had become a tightly packed maze of broken armor. Within it, age-old foes hunted, intent on
Oh,
hatred's
fuck, that's right. I forgot you create a fucking different version of it, didn't
Forcing off tightly controlled shots,
Ah, fuck, I forgot
Justinian
all about
walked
that.
the broil of war. The traitors had become fragmented. Many were trapped on the wall parapet. There they made their last
No.
stand, assailed by space marines coming at them from the tower's either
Where
side,
did this
and
little
by the
prick
greater
go?
forces arrayed outside the walls.
Alright, thankfully my
Others
sniper's
were
still
falling
there,
back,
so she
using
can
their
just
armored
hopefully
vehicles to
take
cover
him.
their retreat to their
Got a
great
lot,
castle
though.
of steel, which loomed
Oh.
in the near distance, more brutal
go.
Its guns still firing. Where is
Come
Bjarni?
on. Let's go home. Oh, they gotta grab
We will
somebody.
never find him in this,
Oh, they go.
said Aldrin. Then we shall count those we kill and shame the wolf brother when we return to the
I mean,
Rudets.
he's falling for them fucking
There
idiots.
is Rusticus, said Aldrin, pointing to the
Okay,
sky
kills them
as the
good.
other
Alright,
squad
come on,
hurtled down
get
from
'em.
above and disappeared
Good
into the
girl.
cauldron of battle. More rivals for the battle tally, as our Fenrisian friend would have it, said Justin. You spent too much time with him. Warfare should be more considered. You sound like Rusticus. Justinian and Aldrin were so massive in their heavy drop armor that they had no chance of stealth, and so they pounded through the tangled ranks, relying on speed to shield. Rusticus speaks sense, said Aldrin. But I concede, Bjarni's manner of war can be entertaining. They rounded the canted hulk of a heavy drop pod, its paint scorched to bare metal, and the lower thruster assembly pushed off into the passenger compartment by impact. The main stanchions were bumping, and the lower
Oh, I
parts
think
of the doors
I've not seen one go up
a
before.
precise cluster of lasburns had drilled the side. Fire roared from the top, and a whiff of cooking flesh penetrated Justinian's breathing filters. The maze of wreckage thinned out there, and the field opened up again.
Oh, yeah.
Only a few destroyed tanks, all blazing ferociously, stood between them and the foe. There were more of the enemy than Justinian had expected, and they were well supported with armor. Brother! Justinian boxed on their closed net. He held up one of his hands, almost encased by the assault bolter's bulky firing mechanisms.
Why am I able to fucking actually use this fucking robot?
5 enemy Predator
Jesus.
were rolling backwards, firing as they withdrew, their thicker frontal armor presented towards the main press of the Imperial forces. Their heavy bolters had pinned a squad of Space Marines from the Silver Skulls chapter behind a burning wreck, and a squad of Heretic Astartes was moving in to flank the position.
I need to take a fuck at it so it doesn't get my goal back up.
His cogitator counting over his intended target to Aldrin. A good choice, said the yellow-clad son of Dawn. They fired.
Anyway, I thought he was
Together, the Primaris Space
You tell me I didn't get to
sailing
fucking
over
use
the
him?
heads of the embattled Silver Skulls. Bullets whined, bolt shells roaring by on the hot blades of rocket motors,
What the fuck is going
and
on?
las beams cracked the air with miniature thunderclaps. While airborne, the two Inceptors became a favored target.
Obviously, yeah, we didn't get to fucking use them.
On the thick plating of their armor, but none could gain entry to the soft meat within. Justinian heeded a rising shriek from his inbuilt tacticari, swerving out of the way to allow the rocket detected to pass between him and Aldrin.
We should still have full range of motion, but when we get all that, should have anything.
They landed off to the right of the Iron Warriors, skulking in the piles of wrecked machines.
We can aid her right there. Might be nice.
And they took shelter behind a broken-backed night carcass. Blasphemous sigils covered its carapace, and its cockpit was cracked open, revealing an ossified melding of man and machine, where a pirate should serve. They have not seen us.
What, girl, come on.
They will.
Look at me. Come on, enough.
Out, both arms at full extension, and opened fire. The Iron Warrior's armor was sufficiently thick that they weathered the first of the mass reactive bolts. They therefore had time to register the two Space Marines flanking them, but several fell before they could return fire. Justinian's left assault bolter clicked dry. A red warning sigil shone angrily in the center of his vision, and he ducked back behind the plate. The ammo indicator for his second gun flickered. I am down to 7 rounds, he informed Aldred. Aldred laughed dryly. 7 rounds was a half-second burst. I have only a few more. We need to resupply. Justinian pulled up another tactical overlay. I have the location of a resupply pod, 300 feet east, not far. The Silver Skulls were still under pressure from the Predators, but thanks to the Inceptors, they were now aware of the Iron Warriors flanking them. A fierce firefight had commenced between the Loyalist Space Marines and the remaining Heretic Astartes. We do not have to, said Justinian. 3 repulsor grav tanks fell from the sky like stones, slowing rapidly and coming to a gentle halt a few feet above the ground, right by the Iron Warriors. Their pulsing, aggressive grav impellers knocked the traitors sideways. One of the Iron Warriors yanked a
you're not having a good day, are you?
and dived under one of the tanks, seeking to
Just
attach
woke
the
up,
charge
is
and destroy the armor. The traitor had evidently never faced repulsor before. The tank's pounding grav engines squashed him flat, leaving a silver, blurred human outline pressed into the ground, leaking blood. The grav tank's anti-infantry
if I keep this up, am I going to be able to get control of him? I mean,
and the repulsors
shit.
flew onwards. The sand
This could go
crushed
bad
to
very
glassy
fucking
shine.
fast.
The enemy predators redirected their fire, increasing their rate of retreat as they
Get them
volleyed
down here,
las-cannon
Paul.
shots at the grav tanks.
Feels like a
But
man.
the repulsors were swift as well as heavily armed, and they chased down their traitorous tracked cousins, blasting them apart with pinpoint accuracy. They flew over their vanquished foes, buckling the wrecks with the
Range.
The silver skulls run
Kidding me.
up, the jewels on their pauldrons sparkling. A terrific, roaring, rent the sky, so loud that it even drowned out the pounding of the Titans approaching the wall. Hundreds more drop pods and gunships were coming down from orbit, many racing off to attack the fortress. Explosive door bolts flew in miniature, rippling cannonades as the petals of the pods slammed down. Thousands of space marines disgorged from their landing craft as the Astra Militarum forces reached the foot of the wall on the other side. Stern-faced Titans loomed over the fortifications, raking the ramparts free of the enemy with gigantic power fists wreathed in the lightning of 100 storms. The crackling of disruption fields, powerful enough to crush a small void ship, harshened the battle's sound. A part of the wall came crashing down beneath a Titan's ponderous blow. As the day resettled, the Titan was already turning, its carapace-mounted cannon roaring fire at some other target Justinian could not see.
It is over, said Justinian. The wall is taken.
To the howling of Legio Metallica war horns, the traitors upon the wall were surrounded and destroyed. The fortress fell 5 hours later. Chapter 8. Respite on Ajax. The weeks went by quietly on Ajax. As Varen's wound healed, he took to coming out on the Medicaid facility balcony every evening. The facility was set on a rise overlooking the Hyvian wetlands. From the foot of the ridge, marshes stretched as far as the horizon.
Yep, I'm definitely fucking rushing it.
The wetlands were well managed and thoroughly exploited.
No good.
Agriculture facilities.
No, it's really no good.
That chopped at the wings.
Because I just fucking...
Yet, despite its tender nature, the area retained a hint of wildness. A healthy ecosystem thrived there. The hospital was well sited. The brutality of the area had eroded much of humanity's gentler qualities, but the Medicaid of Ultramar had enough insight remaining to appreciate the healing potential of natural spaces. Autumn night drew in, fragrant with the smell of falling leaves. Out over the marshes, birds wailed shrill laments for their summer homes as they wheeled away towards the equator. Meadows fringed the reed beds, and children ran through with waving switches, driving bovids home for the night, their shrieks as piercing as the birds. The hot breath of the cattle snorted out in miniature, short-lived storm fronts. Peace reigned. It was bizarre to behold. Varens had thought never to see peace again. Varens leaned on the parapet, letting himself relax. His fear was lessening. He no longer expected death to come at any moment, though he wasn't sleeping well. But if nightmares still had him screaming himself awake in the late watches, his days were gone. The balcony sat atop the hospital portico, or a recessed entablature.
Come on, Gil. You was a moving target.
That did not to Varen's eye quite work. Although the site was well chosen, the architecture of the hospital did not respect Ajax's garden beauty, and the somewhat clumsy hard lines stood out, jarring. The marble's cold luminosity added to the chill of the evening, further setting the building.
Alright, that's not too bad, that's not too bad. I mean, it's not good, but it's not too bad either.
But he didn't want to go back. Not yet. The cold of the tiles through his thin slippers reminded him he was still alive, and the itchy tightness in his wound, until recently so hot and sore, told him he would soon be whole again. Out on the balcony, he felt like a man, not like a patient, as he did when he was in the healing halls, or worse, like a number. To the logisticians at the Departamento Munitorum, all men were numbers, as dispassionately expended as bullets. Varen's relished these rare moments when the war would have needed to be a fury.
Oh, thank God.
From the forefront of his mind. Those times when he might see me. Once healed, the men had a few days of peace before they were returned to the war and became numbers again. Numbers transferred from one column on the balance sheet to another, from sick to well, from resource drain to asset. Few had many months of life left beyond their return to battle. no one lived long in these awful times. Upon the fringes of Ultramar, monsters stalked. Worst of all were the Heretic Astartes and their lords, the traitor sons of the Emperor himself. A mortal man cannot triumph against beings nourished for millennia by hatred. Miraculously, Varans had faced them and lived. The chances were that his next encounter would see him dead. He was fully aware of the brevity of his life, so Varans enjoyed the view and the cold in a way that a man from a more peaceful age would not. Someone whose life was full of pettier concerns would take far less from the experience. Had he considered this, Varans might have taken comfort in how rich every moment was for him, but he lacked the individualism of men from less troubled times, and he did not think much about himself. He took pride in Ultramar and what he fought for. He looked at the view and was prepared to die for what it represented. It was enough for him. Humanity finds a way to live, even in the face of death, he whispered to himself. What was that, my friend? Said a rough voice close behind him.
A poor underwater.
Started from the bumping rail. The speaker was a barrel-chested man with a thatch of grey and red hair sticking up from his ship front.
What is it, girl? Come on, man. Right, stop. Right. It's so fucking bad for you, but like, I know you're my fucking dog. Blame your fucking dad for a ban you around here. Fucking hell. You'd be a fish that I ain't fucking doing to you. Fuck's sake, girl.
No one ever hears me coming. It's a knack I have. What were you saying there? Something our priest says a lot, Varans said. The newcomer looked at him for elaboration, but Varans was embarrassed to be caught in so personal.
God, my brother's such a fucking child, man. I fucking hate him. I really do. Especially for this takeaway that he dug. Just fucking abandoned her in here. What a fucking scumbag bastard. Oh man, and it's forcing me to have to take off fucking Wotc and shit. I fucking hate him, man.
He extended a beefy hand, its back also thick with hair. Varans shook it.
Stupid, selfish, fucking moron it is, man. I swear to God, what a fucking retard.
Garstan pulled the face. Do you not? Can't say I care for all this open space, said Garstan. I grew up in the arcologies, way underground. A view like this gives me agoraphobia. No roof. Then why come out? Asked Varans. I need a break from the groaning of unhealthy men, said Garstan ruefully. Varans nodded. It's quiet out here. Too quiet. It's better than the war. Maybe for you, said Garstan. I want to get back to the fighting. I don't like kicking my heels while good men are dying. It doesn't seem right to be taking in the view when my lasgun could be burning hot in my hand. All this looks pretty enough, but nothing's right here. Nothing's been right anywhere since that. Garstan jerked the crown of his head skywards without looking up. The rift. Varans glanced at the sky. The great rift was visible as a purple smudge across the gathering dark. It was light years away from Ajax, but its baleful influence was felt everywhere across Ultramar. Don't look at it, boy, said Garstan. No one should willingly look. Varans frowned. It doesn't make any difference, he said. It'll be there whether we look at it or not. War goes on like it always has. We're still fighting.
You know, so bad for fucking doctors. He does nothing with. Doesn't take up a walk, he doesn't fucking... doesn't play with, he doesn't fucking do anything. He's such a fucking scumbag for that one. People I want to pick up, fucking never mind them punching me for any reason, fucking gonna try to kill and shit. Not minding that shit, see the one I really fucking hate for is him abandoning his fucking
we don't do that so much
what
anymore,
a piece of shit.
Shame. It'll be a fine thing to be picked for the crusade.
Hate people like that, man. People who fucking treat their dogs badly, but also people in general who fucking like... Jeez, I can't even comprehend that. Imagine abandoning your dog at the side of the road. What a scumbag fucking move, man.
It's forbidden. Garstan made the sign of the equivalent.
I mean it, man. That's some scumbaggery from a level I can't understand.
Who's to see whether I look at it or not? He peered pointedly up and down the balcony. It's not the sanction of the commissars you should be afraid of. Look at it too often, you'll have nightmares. Bad dreams. Everyone has nightmares, said Barnes with a shrug. I do, every night. Not like the ones you'll get here if you stay too long, said Costa nervously. I've heard things. Talk of bad dreams that have whole wards of this place waking up, screaming. Things aren't right. The eye of evil is upon this place. Barnes had not wanted company, especially not of this sort. His mood was spoiled. He had nightmares enough to contend with, without hearing talk of more.
Like, this book is alright,
Good night, Costa, he said. Wait, said
I'll
Costa.
check something. I try this
His
one,
friendly
right?
manner slipped away, and his eyes
I'll
took
check how
on
many
a
words are in
wildness Barnes did not like. He caught Barnes by the upper arm. I've fought them, you know, the heretic Astartes.
I'm just
They
thinking,
have
because
some
as far as I'm
plan.
aware,
They
the
always
average
do.
small, like,
The
fiction
war
book is between
looks
16 and
here
8,000
and
words.
hungers.
And The Hobbit is
We
a
should
small
not
one, it really
look
is.
back,
Personally,
ever.
see when they made the movie, I was like,
You
I
fought
bet
the
I could read through the entire book in less time it would take for me to watch all these
I
fucking movies.
did. Believe me.
See, there should have been two
Awful
movies,
things
you know, each
I've
one
seen.
maybe an hour and a half
Out
each,
near
and just
Tartella,
really fucking good,
before
but
that fell.
instead they've got this kind of
I
bloated
fought them
fucking
too.
kind of thing.
Did you now?
Well,
Did
it's got
you?
95 to
Costa,
95,365
He
words.
let go of
A
Barnes
short almost
and
in place.
smoothed his shirt down. Some of
Okay,
his previous
I think.
bonhomie returned.
Right, and the
Then
Lord of the
you're
Rings
a
with a reading
member
time.
of a
Aye,
select
so
group.
the Hobbit has a
They do
reading
not
time
show
of 5 hours
themselves
for the
often,
average
you
reader.
know. There's
It's still
not so many of
95,000.
them.
Okay.
They prefer the dead,
Alright,
or
so I
those
was
whose
right there.
minds
So
they
a small
have
one
turned
is
to do their work
100,000
for
words,
them.
let's say.
I have
Alright
seen
then.
that too.
So let's say
The
about.
Walking Dead.
Alright, I've still got a long
But
way to
after
go
a
then.
time on Espantor, the Plague Lords
Long
came
way to
more
go, but
frequently.
still, good to
Small
know.
groups at first,
Yeah, I'm
then
going
in
to turn
greater
this fucking
numbers.
book off in there
The
somewhere,
last
because
time there
I'm
were
no
20 or
feeling.
more. I thought they
Not
would
feeling it in there somewhere. I don't know, I'm just not in the mood for fucking Warhammer 40k. Even though I do love the setting and all that shit, but I'm still in the fucking zone for it. Alright, so that's good to know. 95,000. On that, I want to type in. I'm sure I read somewhere fucking. Well, the average film novel has been 16 fucking 30. I guess, I mean, 8 isn't far off, but I don't know. So the small. Has novella again, is from 17,000 up to 45,000. There are some losing to their short works, 10,000 with novellas. The average 17 typically, well, full-length novels are typically 50,000 words. Oh, so it's even less than what I thought. Alright, so wait a minute. Key shows, book word counts, novellas. 2 hours. A 30,000 word book typically takes on 2 hours, alright. 310 check away. There's a novella. It's common to find between 10,000 and 4,000. Okay. Fucking hell, like, one of my stories I've already got 10,000 fucking words in. I know, one of my stories I've already got 14,000 words in. Okay. And I'm not even, I don't even consider myself anywhere near. Like, I'm still at the beginning of the fucking thing, I'm not even at the middle. Fuck. Alright. Cool, and that's the one I consider small, so see my big one, like my kind of fantasy story one, the Trials. Fucking hell, it's gonna be like 250, maybe 300,000 words. Alright, oh, I might put, and I've got to think about fucking all the other stuff as well, the actual world building. Oh, okay. Alright. I might do that actually, Bladestorm, thank God. 4 days, not too bad. 10 days-ish. Survival protocol, yeah. Alright, let's do that. Estrica. Even not really go. Do the other rest of it. That's fair enough. He's on it. He's on it. Alright. Let's get back to that. Right. So in between, I will try and fucking ducks. Because once these are out of the way, that's fucking it. Is that Enrique? Oh no, that's the Irish lassie. Or how's it going? Counterintelligence. I need to get some of this chemistry done as well. Boom, guys, what we got going on here? We can probably go one day away. Should we go to the frost bomb? Right, that's handy. Especially if we come across fucking one of the Dr. Valent's fucking experiments, it can come in very handy. Right, we're gonna have to hit one of these fucking black sites now. How long until we get plated on? Hold on. Not now. 10 days. Yeah, I see about that. Awesome. Let's get rooms. And there's no point in getting any stuff in there now. I guess I could actually just people are a wee bit fucked over there. Diamond. Go for it. What's this? Yeah. A mountain. Like neither will be happy. Go get these supplies. And then we may go into that black site. Yeah, well, how long until please now? 4 days. Engineering. And we're still getting vapor rooms. That would be a complete and utter pain in the ass. So it would be, in fact, that would probably end up killing us. It would, if they hit us in that shit. Oh, well, look at that. Now we've got fucking 6. Oh. Right, destroy the alien relay. This might actually be a good team for it, actually. Yeah, okay. Maybe any damage, but also I need to get in the next act. Once I get played down, I'll unlock new stuff so we can suffer this in it. It's like you can more now. Yeah, sure, why not?
According to Shen, liquefied gases inside should lead to an instantaneous seizure.
Yeah. Fire nice. Okay. Where's the last one? We'll go back, get supplies, and hopefully everybody will rested up enough that we can go there by actually and time to play that one. Hopefully. What happens is when they get to that point, they're able to actually attack. Attack us, is it? Oh. Fuck it, let them attack. I'm just gonna see how long. Well, let them get as strong as they want. Fuck it. I'm not doing this one fucking this. I'm not doing this one fucking Iron Man for fuck it. I guess that bad, I'll just jump back. I'm playing there for fun in it now, so I need to remember that. Alright, so, the trials. Say that right, man. Say that right, I'm like 20% now. Ah, the fucking tunnels. Keep everybody together. Alright, that's the main thing. Just keep everybody together. Timer here on this one, so I can take my time.
In short order.
Well, okay. Well, well then. Now, hold on, let's... Before we make any moves here. I mean, I guess I could sit in a claymore and then grenade them. Not a bad idea, actually. pretty sure that was a wipe at everybody. And the thing I'm not sure about is, like, she's got an ability, so she does, but if she gets a claymore kill, then she's able to go in the shadows. But it isn't saying specifically, it wasn't stated specifically that it needs to be her that sets it off, or it just says a claymore kill. We might need to test that one of these days. Right, so with that and that should be enough to wipe them out. Not quite. Just in case anybody walks in the corner. Oh, no. Oh, right, so there is a fucking timer. God damn it. Alright, good thing I was rushing then. If we get even a little bit closer, but that might be the thing that sets them off. Let's get a little bit closer then. Because she got kills in it, let's not forget. Oh, I hope we got run towards her. God, there. I might not be in this for right in the night. I might stick on a different audiobook. I don't know. Or even just an audio story. Miss. Unfortunate. Oh, come on, girl. You got it. Unless I knew you know that. Oh, fuck off. Come on. Where are you? There. What's this? Can we go? Following course for Blackhawks. Come on. Defend by the alien. Yeah, Blackhawk. Whoa, try ain't a hook. Fucking stupid alien. Better. Nope. Okay. There's that gas grenade in there. That'd be perfect. Okay. Let's see if I can move somebody. Let's see if I can find out. I don't know about that actually. I wonder if I'm up there. I may even use my memory beacon on there. It does impact damage as well, as opposed to those. Yeah, it does. I did not fucking mean that. God damn it. But then again, this may have worked out okay. Doesn't actually mean that though. I'll just maybe have a look. I'm doing this, it destroys the wall as well. Take that off, right. Can I read it? I fucking can, man. I can destroy the wall and everything. Alright. Not bad, I'm like poison, that should take it that one. Go on, go. I don't think he can be poisoned. That's probably not trying to grab one. Oh, where's he gonna run? Cut. That's right, I figure about that. So I know it's intended to be annoying, because I'm not sure if this is actually what I get. You just freeze right there, buddy. Take a shot. Just like, I don't know, like an audio story on YouTube or something like that, something stupid. Right. Yeah. Something just cheap and easy. What if? In fact, there's one I know. What if Q?
Materialized in the middle of a departmental Munitorum supply depot on Key. Or rather, what is exactly 0 Imperial sensors. No warp signature, no teleportation flare, no displacement of matter. One moment, the depot's massive warehouse stood empty save for crates of laser gun power packs. The next, Q stood there, hands clasped behind his back, surveying his surroundings with the air of a tourist examining a particularly disappointing museum exhibit. Well, he said to no one in particular, his voice echoing across the cavernous space. This is aggressively depressing. He walked between towering stacks of munitions crates, each one stamped with high Gothic script and purity seals. The air stank of promethium, gun oil, and
and that peculiar metallic tang that came from too many weapons stored in too little space. Emergency lumens cast everything in sickly yellow light. The architecture was pure Imperial functionality. Brutal, unadorned, designed only to store instruments of death with maximum efficiency. Q snapped his fingers. A comfortable armchair materialized behind him, upholstered in deep burgundy fabric that looked obscenely luxurious against the industrial grimness. He sat, crossed his legs, and conjured a cup of Earl Grey tea. Hot, naturally.
Earl Grey, really?
I visited some bleak timelines, he mused, taking a sip. The Borg Collective. But you people, you've made bleakness into an art form, suffering as currency, faith as a weapon, hope as heresy. It's almost impressive in its thoroughgoing awfulness. He'd discovered this universe purely by accident, if beings like Q could be said to experience accidents. While entertaining himself by observing probability streams across the multiverse, he'd noticed something unusual. 12 soldiers in flak armor and rebreather masks, laser guns at the ready. Their sergeant, a grizzled woman with augmetic eyes and a face full of scars, barked orders in clipped Gothic. They fanned out in textbook Imperial Guard formation, moving with the practiced efficiency of soldiers who'd been fighting since childhood. They spotted Q immediately. 12 laser guns swung toward him with mechanical precision. "Identify yourself," the sergeant shouted, her voice processed through her rebreather into something harsh and inhuman. "You're in violation of Departamento Munitorum security protocols. Compliance is mandatory." Q didn't stand. He simply looked at them over the rim of his teacup, one eyebrow raised in aristocratic amusement. Oh, how delightful. The welcome wagon. He took another sip. "Tell me, do you always greet visitors with weapons?" "Very hospitable." "This is your final warning." The sergeant's finger tightened on her trigger. "Identify yourself or..." Q snapped his fingers. All 12 laser guns transformed into flowers. Not just any flowers. Bright, cheerful daisies, utterly incongruous in the grim depot. The soldiers stared at their hands in confusion and mounting horror. One dropped his bouquet like it was a venomous serpent. "Or what?" Q asked pleasantly. "You'll shoot me? With those?" He gestured at the flowers. "I admire the optimism, but I think your tactical doctrine might need revision." The sergeant recovered first. She keyed her Vox bead, voice steady despite the impossible situation. "Command, this is Theta Squad. We have a code Malleus in Depot 77 Alpha. Suspected psycho manifestation. Require inquisitorial support immediately." "Psyker?" Q laughed, a sharp theatrical sound. "Oh, you poor limited creatures. I'm not a psyker. Psykers still operate within your universe's rules. They draw power from that ghastly warp of yours, risking possession and madness for party tricks." He stood, and the chair vanished. "I operate outside your rules entirely. I am Q, member of the Q Continuum, and I'm here because your universe is the most magnificently depressing thing I've encountered in eons." He walked toward the soldiers. They backed away instinctively, training warring with the evidence of their eyes. "Let me demonstrate the difference," Q continued. "A psyker might stop your hearts with effort, risking demonic backlash. I could end your existence with a thought, along with this planet, this system, this entire segmentum, and it would cost me nothing. No effort, no consequence, no risk." He smiled. "But where's the fun in that?" Another snap. The soldiers found themselves standing in a perfect recreation of a pre-imperial paradise. Green fields, blue sky, warm sun. It lasted exactly 3 seconds before Q returned them to the depot's grimness. "That was your world," he said softly. 20,000 years ago, before your Emperor's grand vision turned humanity into this." He gestured around. "Before faith replaced reason, before suffering became policy." The sergeant's hand trembled on her Vox unit. You speak heresy." "I speak truth. You've simply been trained not to recognize the difference." Q turned away from them, looking up at the vaulted ceiling as if seeing through it to the stars beyond. I think I'm going to enjoy my stay here. So much suffering. So much faith. So much absolute certainty in a universe built on lies. He glanced back at the soldiers. If you crave more tales from the Dark Millennium, smash that subscribe button. The Emperor protects those who support the channel. He paused, frowning. Sorry, that was odd. Where was I? Ah, yes. Your Inquisition will want to meet me. I can already feel their fascination mixed with terror. How wonderfully predictable. Q snapped his fingers one final time and vanished, leaving 12 Cadian soldiers staring at their daisies and questioning everything they thought they knew about reality. In the void between moments, Q smiled. This was going to be entertaining indeed. The report reached Inquisitor Helmar Torquemada within 17 minutes of the initial contact. He read it twice, standing in the command sanctum of his personal flagship, the Absolute Righteousness, currently in high orbit above New Cadia's primary hive. The words made no sense. Laser guns transformed into flowers, instantaneous teleportation with no warp signature, claims of existing outside the rules, heretical statements delivered with casual confidence. Either Theta Squad had succumbed to mass hallucination, unlikely for Cadian veterans, or something genuinely unprecedented had manifested in his jurisdiction. Torquemada was Ordo Malleus, trained to confront demonic threats that could shatter minds and corrupt souls. He'd banished greater demons, purged possessed Space Marine chapters, and survived encounters with entities that existed purely as malevolent concepts. In 70 years of service, he'd learned one fundamental truth. Nothing was truly unstoppable. Everything had weaknesses. Even the Chaos Gods themselves could be resisted with sufficient faith and firepower. He keyed the Vox to his senior staff. Prepare containment protocols, full psychic suppression array, null field at maximum strength. I want 6 Kulexis assassins on standby and a Grey Knight strike team inbound within the hour. His interrogator, a thin woman named Thessaly with augmetic eyes that glowed faint red, looked up from her data slate. My lord, the report suggests this entity operates beyond typical psychic parameters. All psychers believe themselves exceptional. Thessaly. Torquemada checked the loading mechanism on his Psychonon, a massive weapon designed to fire blessed bolt rounds through warped resonant crystals. This one simply has more power than most. The principles remain the same. He was wrong, of course, but he wouldn't realize that for another 43 minutes. Q materialized in Torquemada's personal quarters while the Inquisitor was in transit. The chambers were exactly what one would expect from an Ordo Malleus zealot. Austere to the point of monasticism, with a simple cot, a shrine to the Emperor dominated by candles and purity seals, and walls lined with texts on demonology and forbidden knowledge. The only decoration was a collection of trophies, daemon weapons rendered inert, heretical artifacts sealed in stasis fields, a withered hand that had belonged to a Slaaneshi cult leader. Charming, Q murmured, examining a sword that pulsed with faint warp energy even in its neutralized state. You people collect nightmare memorabilia. It's like visiting a serial killer's basement, except you're the good guys. Allegedly. He settled into Torquemada's reading chair, the only furniture besides the cot, and conjured himself a glass of wine. Chateau Picard, 2347. The vintage was older than the Imperium itself, from a timeline where humanity had chosen very differently. When Torquemada arrived with his retinue, Q was reading one of his books, a treatise on identifying demonic possession in early stages. The Inquisitor froze in his doorway, hand moving to his Psychonon. Behind him, 6 armored figures in psychically neutral equipment fanned out. The air grew heavy with null field pressure, a sensation like reality itself becoming sluggish and difficult. Q looked up from the book, utterly unbothered by the null field that should have suppressed any psychic power within 50 meters. must be the head fanatic. I've been reading your notes. Quite thorough, if fundamentally misguided. You categorize warp entities by their emotional resonance, but you've completely missed that they're actually multidimensional thought forms exploiting quantum uncertainty in... He paused. Sorry, that's probably gibberish to you. Your understanding of physics is adorably medieval. I am Inquisitor Helmar Torquemada of the Ordo Malleus. Torquemada announced, his voice steady despite the impossible sight before him. You will identify yourself and submit to questioning, or you will be destroyed. Will I? Q stood, setting the book aside carefully. I do appreciate confidence, but yours seems slightly misplaced. He gestured at the null field generators his retinue had positioned. Those devices, clever, really. They create localized dead zones in your warp, suppressing psychic phenomena. Quite effective against your garden variety demon or possessed unfortunate. He walked directly through the null field's strongest point.
Unfortunately,
I don't use the warp.
Pretty sure I told you
I
to
don't
shut
need
that
to.
fucking thing off.
One of the Kulex's
I think I'm
assassins
figured this
moved
out
with
now. Who should
inhuman
get this?
speed, closing the
Can you do
distance
it?
in a blur.
I don't think you
These were
can, can you?
pariahs. Humans
No,
with the rare null gene that made them psychic voids, unbearable to be near for any warp-sensitive being.
Yeah, that's actually
The assassin's
not
touch could
bad
kill
if being an
psychers
option.
through sheer
Because that
anti-psychic
rocket can go a
presence.
fucking distance.
Q caught the
Yeah,
assassin's
yeah.
wrist without looking, stopping the attack with the casual ease of someone swatting a fly. Fascinating. You're like negative space in reality, a hole where psychic energy goes to die. He examined the assassin with genuine interest. In some universes, beings like you become incredibly powerful. Here, you're just weapons. He released the wrist. Sad, really. Torquemada fired his psy-cannon. The blessed rounds crossed the distance in a fraction of a second, each one containing enough psychoreactive charge to obliterate a demon's corporeal form. They stopped in midair, 3 centimeters from Q's chest, hovering, perfectly still. Interesting projectiles, Q observed, plucking one from the air and turning it over in his fingers like a curious specimen. Psychoreactive crystalline matrix, faith-blessed consecration, anti-demon properties. You've weaponized belief itself. Points for creativity. He flicked it back at Torquemada. Not hard enough to injure, just enough to make the Inquisitor flinch. But I'm not a demon. I'm not a psyker. I'm not even something your cosmology has categories for. He snapped his fingers.
I thought it wasn't this.
Every weapon in the room transformed into religious iconography. Aquilus,
I'll see where it
purity
goes.
seals, miniature emperor statues.
But I like the way this one was.
The
Really,
Kulex's
it was pretty good.
assassins held blessed prayer books.